Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Fire Trail. In tonight's episode, I want to share with you a simple calculation of why it might not be the best scenario for you to place your heir's inheritance in a CD or high yield savings account. This video was actually inspired by a close friend of mine who wanted to really understand what it would be like if someone, let's say, who's 60 years old and wants to plan to leave a hefty inheritance to their heirs in the amount of $1 million. Let's use that as an example. And let's say you want to ensure your heirs get $1 million when they are 21. The current grandkids are, let's say, 1 years old, and they say, by the time they're 21 years old, I want to ensure they have this $1 million. And so they said, let's play it safe. Let's put it in a CD or a high yield savings account. Now, as we all know, currently, high yield savings accounts, CDs, are averaging about 5%. It's not difficult to find one at 5%. But in the long run, historically, it has shown that these accounts, these CDs and high yield savings accounts, have really averaged closer to 1-2%. And it's only just recently that it has shot up to 5%. So I want to do a financial model, or really a quick financial calculation to show the difference between saving $1 million in a high yield savings account over 20 years, over 21 years, versus $1 million saved in the S&P 500 in an equity account over 21 years. Okay. Hey everyone, this is Xiao Yu. I retired at 37 and I love doing personal finance coaching. I love helping individuals reach financial independence and hopefully they can retire early as well. So let's get to our example. Here's our model here. Let's assume the grandparent is 60 years old and they want to leave a newborn grandchild when they're 21 years old $1 million, right? So that means the $1 million have 21 years worth of compounding interest. And then current investment, they say they want to put $1 million into some savings. Okay. And let's say within that 21 years that they put in a high yield savings account or CD. Now, currently is averaging 5%, but we know historically interest rates have not always been at 5%. The last 15 years, it's been almost 0%. So for this example, let's just say hypothetically it averages 3%. So right in the middle, 3%. Over 21 years, with it averaging 3% return on these safe CDs and high yield savings accounts, that $1 million will have an interest earned of 860,000 for a total ending balance of 1.8 million, close to 1.9 million dollars, right? Now, I recognize that's a lot of money. Your grandchild becomes 21 years old and they can potentially inherit almost $2 million from grandpa and grandma. There's nothing wrong with that. But what I want to showcase tonight, what we generally consider the safe choice, right? A lot of people do this method because they don't want their grandkids to lose out on the $1 million. They don't want to risk it, right? But what I want to showcase tonight is that what we're really risking is a great deal of generational wealth by saving in a financial instrument that only returns 3% when historically the S&P 500, the stock market, over the last 60 years have returned 12, 13%. We know the last 15 years it's averaged closer to 15%. So for the sake of arguments, let's say it's not 12, 13%. Let's say you get 7%, half of what the market has been doing the last 60 years. What would your heirs inherit when they're 21 if you have invested in the S&P 500? Look at this. Same scenario. Your grandparents 60, they want their grandchild when they're 21 years old to inherit $1 million that they invest today. So what will that have what will that $1 million grow into if they invest it in the equity markets? That $1 million would have turned to $4.1 million. In other words, it would be $2.2 million more than if the grandparents have saved it in CDs and high yield savings account. Let me say that again. It would be $2 million more. Now, I know some of you may argue, well, my grandchild's getting $1 million either way, so what's the big deal? Well, here's the big deal. It's called opportunity costs. If you were given a choice of receiving 4.1 million or 1.8 million, which one would you choose? Of course, all of us would choose the 4.1 million. But here's the thing. If you would do that, wouldn't your grandkids want the same for themselves as well? Wouldn't you want, if you want the 4.1, wouldn't you want them to have the 4.1 million as well? Of course, the answer is yes. And what I'm showcasing here is statistically, the stock market does 11, 12%, but I've caved it down. I have reduced it down to 7% by almost half, right? And it still becomes over $4 million, $2.2 million more than what your CD is generating over the next 21 years. Now, just for fun, let's see what it would look like if it returned 10%. Okay. Instead, I'm still not at the 12, 13% that over the last 60 years the S&P 500 has done. Let's say it's 10%. Just for fun, what would that look like? Look at Model 3. That $1 million, if it grew at an annual rate of 10%, would become $7.4 million or $5.5 million more than you investing in CDs and high yield savings account. $7.4 million. This is the power of compound interest. This is the power of investing in equity market. 7.4 million, that's a tremendous blessing to a 21-year-old. Hopefully you have multiple grandkids and you can, share. If you have 7 grandkids, each of you get $1 million, right? But this is something for all of us to consider. It's if you are in the position to leave a generous, extremely generous inheritance to your grandkids, please consider investing it for their sake, for their benefit, and don't just put it in a high yield savings account or a CD. It makes a tremendous difference. Okay. All right. I really appreciate you guys watching this video. Hopefully you gained some knowledge from it and it was helpful. Please like and subscribe my channel and leave a comment and I would love to hear from you guys. I wish you guys the best on your journey to financial independence. Take care.